How's it going? My name is Bryce, and this is my channel, Striving Intellect. And today we're going to be talking about some groundbreaking research into bioelectronics and organic computers. And this is something that could be groundbreaking. Absolutely something that could go towards making computers more like the human brain. And from my understanding, that's something that the researchers wanted to do. And obviously, the brain is also a bioelectronic organ that uses bioelectricity to send signals to nerves. And it is obvious that something like that is extremely complex, and making computers as much like the human brain as possible seems to be the obvious trajectory. And this is a picture of the experiment. It is shiitake mushrooms connected to some circuit boards. And it looks like, I guess that's the mushrooms in the bowls of what looks like mulch. It looks pretty disgusting, honestly. I'm not going to lie. This is a picture of shiitake mushrooms that you could buy, and it looks nothing like that. I'm not going to lie. This is a HD photo of the experiment. And again, it looks pretty nasty. It looks like some mulch with some type of fungus on top of it, with some wires connected to it. Again, it doesn't look anything like the shiitake mushrooms that anybody else would be probably used to, but this is their experiment. They were successfully able to use this to send signals and store information on the mushrooms like living memory. And I'm just going to read from an article real quick, just a little bit of an introduction. This is earth.com by Sanjana. Future computers could grow their own memory from mushrooms. Mushrooms in computing. At the Ohio State University, researchers found that edible mushrooms such as shiitake mushrooms could act like organic memory chips. When connecting to circuits, the mushrooms stored and processed information like a living brain. Study led by John LaRocco is a researcher scientist in psychiatry at Ohio State College of Medicine. Quote, being able to develop a microchip that mimic the actual neural activity means you don't need a lot of power for standby or when the machine isn't being used, said LaRocco. The fungal chips performed surprisingly well. Each could switch electrical states thousands of times per second with high accuracy. These organic systems did not rely on costly rare earth minerals or energy-intensive factories, which make them an appealing alternative to traditional semiconductors. Yeah, I mean, the human cost, the cost from pollution that rare earth minerals actually cause to the environment and human beings in general is pretty astronomical. So it would be amazing to find something that is a alternative to rare earth minerals. Not to say that obviously at this point there's certain countries that have a chokehold on rare earth mineral supplies, which we need for basically everything at this point. But I'll go on. Learning from nature. Fungi already form vast underground networks that pass signals between roots and trees. The researchers realized these same biological systems could be repurposed to store information. The mycelium, the thread-like parts of the fungus, responds to electrical pulses by changing in resistance. Those shifts act like memories. In tests, mushrooms adjusted their conductivity when exposed to repeated voltage cycles. Their ability to change behavior after each signal mirrored how neurons in the brain learn. Over time, the fungi remembered patterns of stimulation and became more stable in performance. That self-tuning nature could one day lead to energy-efficient devices that learn continuously, much like biological systems. Yeah, I mean, it is really great to think that something could actually learn and generate new behavior that could actually improve itself. Obviously, there's maybe some things that maybe need some guardrails or safe checks or something like that, but it is amazing that we're doing stuff like this. Especially, the idea is very outside the box. Testing mushrooms for computers. To explore this, the team grew shiitake mushrooms and button mushrooms on organic materials such as wheat germ, hay, and farro seeds. Once the fungal mats reached maturity, they were dried in sunlight to maintain shape and later sprayed with water to restore conductivity. Quote, we would connect electrical wires and probes at different points on the mushrooms because distinct parts of it have different electrical properties, said LaRocco. Each part responded differently to signals, showing that the internal structure of mushrooms influences electrical flows. At specific frequencies, the mushroom displayed classic memory loops known as hysteresis curves. On confirming their potentials as memorizers. Mushrooms that remember. During the experiments, the fungal devices performed best at low frequencies around 10 hertz. The resistance in their tissue changed predictably, which allowed scientists to write and erase memory states, which means they could store information on it and do processes with it. When multiple mushroom discs were linked, their combined performance improved, similar to how neurons in a network strengthen through repeated use. This behavior confirmed that the fungi could act as living hardware for neuromorphic systems, where data storage and processing happen together. The simplicity of cultivation and testing means future researchers might experiment with homegrown versions of their technology without large facilities. Yeah, again, if you can grow your chips or your memory, that would be a massive, massive improvement from the human cost, the geopolitical cost of empowering a country like China, who manufactures something like 70 to 90% of all the rare earth processed in the world is from China. Mushrooms endure stress. Beyond computing, the resilience of shiitake mushrooms offers another advantage. They contain a compound called lignins that protect cells from oxidation stress. This helps them endure radiation, temperature shifts, and ultraviolet light. Such durability could make fungus circuits valuable to aerospace and deep space missions where harsh radiation damage conventional electronics. Yeah. Again, like that would be groundbreaking if you could use something like that, like a bioelectrical system for spaceships or computers on spaceships or space stations. Studies also suggest that fungi exposed to radiation can adjust structurally to survive, even using pigment like melanin to shield themselves. Shiitake mushrooms retain nutrients and structure after radiation exposure, proving they can thrive where other materials degrade. Yeah, I'm just going to actually read an abstract from the study. This is the study on plos.org. And the study was actually called Sustainable Memorizers from Shiitake Mimicillium for high-frequency bioelectronics. And this is the abstract. Neuromorphic computing, inspired by the structure of the brain, offers advantages in parallel processing, memory storage, and energy efficiency. However, current semiconductor-based neuromorphic chips require rare earth minerals and costly fabrication processes, whereas neuroorganoids need complex bioreactor maintenance. In this study, we explored shiitake mushrooms, fungi, as a robust, sustainable alternative, exploiting its adaptable electrical signaling, which is akin to neuronal spiking. We demonstrate fungal computing via mycelial networks interface with electrodes, showing that fungal memrisistors can be grown, trained, and preserved through dehydration, retaining functionality at frequencies up to 5.85 kilohertz with an accuracy of 90%. Notably, shiitake mushrooms has exhibited radiation resistance, suggesting it's viable for aerospace applications. Our findings show that fungal computers can provide scalable, eco-friendly platforms for neuromorphic tasks, bridging bioelectronics and unconventional computing. Amazing study. Absolutely amazing. Props to John LaRocco, and all of these other amazing individuals. And let's just go through the overview real quick. The development of neuromorphic hardware relies on memristor devices capable of emulating synaptic behavior, with potential applications in energy-efficient computing, artificial intelligence. That's a buzzword. Recent work has explored biodegradable substrates as sustainable alternatives to conventional inorganic memrisistors. In this study, we investigate potential of edible fungus, shiitake mushrooms, as a platform of memristor fabrication. By examining the electrical response of mushroom-derived materials under repeated voltage cycling, we explored stable memristive switching behavior, retention, and endurance. Shiitake-based devices not only demonstrate reproducible memory effects, but also highlight the potential for scalable, low-cost, environmentally friendly neuromorphic components. That's amazing. Biocomputing is amazing. It sounds like something that's sci-fi. It's absolutely groundbreaking study. This is something that I think is going to be massive in the future, especially for space and AI. I can't even imagine AI with computers as brains or processors, whether it be robots or androids. It's something that sounds like a sci-fi novel, but again, we're just on the very cusp of it. Making a computer as much like a human brain is obviously something that they're working towards, and it's probably going to happen sooner than later. This is amazing, and I just thought this was extremely interesting and groundbreaking. I hope you guys also really liked it, and please like the video and subscribe.